Hey, everybody. How you doing today? Hey, beautiful people. How are you? Welcome to Introducing the Podcast. I'm your girl, Smart Video Girl, here for another great edition of the podcast where we talk about new ways of thinking so we can have new ways of being. All right. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining me today. It is September. Can you believe it? September. And we have been working our way through these laws. Okay. We've been working our way through these laws. And thank you so much for being here with me today. So hold on a second. Let me just do something real quick. I want to there you go. Boom, bam. I just want to say thank you guys for joining me today. Thank you for being here. I truly greatly appreciate you. As you know, we are knee deep in the laws. Okay, we are knee deep in the laws. And so I'm not even going to hold you because we, I always ask for the laws. And I see that you guys come prepared today. Come prepared to share. So we are going to jump into the laws. We have done 10 laws so far. We have done 10 laws so far. And as Miss Patricia Glenn has so eloquently posted in the chat, we have done the law of oneness, the law of vibration, the law of correspondence, the law of attraction, the law of inspired action, the law of transmutation of energy, the law of cause and effect, the law of compensation, the law of relativity, and the law of polarity. So, as you can see, this is not a game. These are real laws. And if you really apply them to your life, you can be in the flow. And that's what we're talking about today. We're going to talk about the 11th law. So congratulations, Miss Patricia Glenn. Thank you so much for being here. All right. The 11th law, the law that we are talking about today, is one that, oh man, I think we're going to enjoy. Again, these are the laws that we have gone over so far. And today we're going to be talking about getting into the flow. Okay, getting into the flow. We're understanding the law of a rhythm, the flow of life. All right. So, as you know, let's talk about flow. I'm going to start it off with this. So, I actually want to share a video from my workout journey. Now, as you know, I've been doing this workout journey for a while now. And for almost like 3 weeks, I had done nothing. I had done nothing. I had came to a screeching halt. It was like, and I stopped. So I want to share this video of my first day back in the gym in a while, right? How I got back into the flow. So it's a really quick snippet. I'm going to play that and then we're going to get into this law of rhythm. So make sure you grab your notebooks. You only got 20 seconds. Grab your notebooks and we're going to get right to it. So check out this video and we're going to jump into the law of rhythm.
This is my life, man. Do you know how hard I worked to get here? I built this shit. Me. Brick by brick.
Oh, y'all see me lifting them weights? Man. Okay. Now, talking about flow, I had to get back into the flow and the rhythm of working out. But we're going to talk about how all of that is relative. I hope you enjoy that. I hope you see that I'm making some progress. Shout out to Coach Ron. Shout out to Coach Ron. uh, and for posting that, creating that video for me. I appreciate you. All right, y'all. So here we go. We're talking about the law of rhythm. The law of rhythm. The law of rhythm states that everything flows in and out. It rises and falls. It's forward and back, like the tide, like seasons, and like cycles of life. This is important to understand. This is so important to understand because what this helps us to figure out is understand that nothing stays the same. Change is what it is, right? We've already talked about that, all right? Perpetual, we can change energy and things of that sort. So as you're riding the wave of life, if you once you get into the rhythm and you ride the wave of life, you ride the flow, you follow the flow of life, right? You can start to shift. You can ride and be in harmony with that rhythm. That's the goal of this particular law, is to help us um, stay in rhythm with the shifts that come with day to day, moment by moment things in life. Okay, so that's what we're talking about today. All right, these are very important because I'm telling you, it can be hard out here. It can be hard out here if you get stuck and not wanting to be in the flow of life. So when we learn to flow with it, we find peace, alignment, and we start to trust the process. Okay. All right. So that's what the law tells us. All right. So the flow of life. We know everything has a flow, right? Everything has a flow. Everything has a flow. All right. So nature has a flow. We have day and night. We have seasons. We have months. We have the tide. We have high tide, low tide. There's a rhythm to these things. That's why it's predictable. That's why they can tell us when we're going to have it, because there's a rhythm to it. Okay. There's also personal life, your energy cycles, right? Us women, we understand flow, right? Because we have an auntie named Flo, and that has a rhythm. It has a pattern. Okay. Our productivity, some days you have high energy days, some days you have low energy days. Okay. Your emotions go up and down. You can be happy one minute and sad the next. Okay. This is all part of the flow of life. All right. And then, of course, in business, there's seasons of growth, and then there's seasons of rest, seasons of just influx, So this is what the law of rhythm is really showing us. In this example here is showing us where that can show up for us in life. Okay. Because that's very important. Okay. Very important. Y'all, thank y'all so much. Thank you so much for the comments on my workout. The workout flow had dried up for me. So, if you're talking about cycles and you're talking about being in the flow and the rhythm, I had stopped. I had not been to the gym literally in 3 weeks, and I had to jump back into the flow. So when I jumped back into the flow, that's when my energy level came back. That's where there was that motivation. And really, when I jumped back into that flow, I realized that I had actually made progress, right? I had made progress in the work that I had done. But had I not taken the time to rest in there, the flow, I would have not known or seen my progress. And because I saw the progress, it motivated me more. I was like, okay, girl, you did. You was okay. You was in there and you was working it out. And now you have built up some strength, and you got a little strong. I said strong. You a little strong, But that is being able to understand the flow and not beat myself up because I didn't have this continuous, going to the gym situation. So yeah, just a personal example for me of how the flow has worked. All right. So why is it important to understand the law of rhythm? Today we're talking about the 11th law, universal law that that we've been going through all of these laws, and we are talking about the law of rhythm. The reason why it's important to understand the law of rhythm, I do apologize about that. The reason why it matters is because life is not meant to be constant. Okay. Just like seasons, we all go through changes. And if we can't navigate those changes within our lives, right? Then we tend to it's the resistance. So being in the flow of life, being the rhythm of life is key to um, being open to what is for you instead of resisting. Because when we want things to stay the same, right? When we resist change, when we resist the flow and rhythm of life, that's when we have problems. When we learn to let go and release and be open to life's rhythms, then we can start to see how they benefit us. When it's high, when we can take advantage of that, and when it's low, when we can take advantage of that, right? Because even so, you think about it, and I don't know exactly, forgive me if I am wrong, or forgive me if I misspeak. But for instance, even the tides, there's certain things you do at high tide and low tide because of the opportunity. So instead of resisting high tide, you embrace it, you work with it. We are working with these laws. We want to be in harmony with them. So understanding them is important. So it's important, it matters that we understand the law of rhythm, because it helps us in the understanding that life is not constant and there is always going to be change, right? So this kind of goes along with the perpetual transmutation of energy. It's always, things are always moving. So this rhythm is that movement has a pattern to it. It has a sequence to it. It can almost be predictable to a point, okay? And that's why it's important, okay? And when you embrace a rhythm, we stop beating ourselves up for not always being on. We stop beating ourselves up for not always being right, okay? We rest when it's time to rest, and we move when it's time to move, and we grow when it's time to grow, because all of that is part of the rhythm of life. I shared an example recently with someone about, we live on a hamster wheel, and sometimes we live on a hamster wheel and we're just going, 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 going. And I talk about this in the book about living on that hamster wheel. And when we jump off the hamster wheel, I equated to kind of stepping off and not knowing where you're going because you're familiar with the hamster wheel. Okay. That hamster wheel was constant. There was no, it was constant. It just goes like this. That flow had no variation. But when we come off the hamster wheel, we realize you may become dizzy almost. Like if you keep going, you can get dizzy when you start to regulate and figure out the flow of life, right? And you have to reorient yourself. You have to get back in alignment with yourself. And I say it like this. So when you step off the hamster wheel and you are doing the work that is you on the journey of your self-work, in the path of finding that harmony for you, finding that flow, finding that rhythm, is navigating, bumping your head, and realizing all the things. We have to go from the hamster wheel, right, to journeying to find the river so we can flow with life. Okay, that's how I like to say. We want to flow with life. We want to know, because even in the flow of life, you're going to run into rocks. You may be in the river. There's going to be all kinds of things you just don't know. And you have to be able to navigate all of that. Okay. All right. That's why it's very important. So now how? So how now, smart video girl, how now do I do that? How do I use this law of rhythm to my benefit in my self-work journey, in my self-healing, in my self journey? How do I use the law of rhythm? So what you're going to do is you're going to pay attention. That's what you have to do. First, you got to pay attention. Pay attention to your rhythm. When is the best time for you to work? When is the best time for you to sleep? When is the best time for you to engage? When do you need to take a break? Okay. Pay attention and then adjust accordingly to that flow. Just according to get into the flow. And if we don't resist, if we don't try to be so rigid, we can figure that out. A lot of times we can figure out what that flow is for us. Okay. So you're going to pay attention to your personal rhythms. What energizes you? When are you most creative? When do you naturally need rest? Okay. Instead of pushing yourself in those times when you are low energy, learn to be still. Learn to use that time to be introspective, to ask yourself questions. What is happening here? Maybe you have to be patient. Maybe you have to heal. Okay. All right. And when it's your high season, when things are really flowing, take advantage of that energy and move with it. You know what I'm saying? Move with it. All right. High energy. Because look, your high energy you may be a person who has a lot of a lot of low seasons, a lot of low energy. That doesn't mean that you're not successful than a person who has high energy. It's just that's your flow. That's your rhythm. Everything works out for you as it should be. But you have a rhythm and it's your personal rhythm. And it is your job as part of your growth and self-work journey to discover your flow, because no one can tell you your flow. Okay. And that's important to understand. Get with your rhythm. That's what I say. Get with your rhythm. It's important. Okay. So let's see how we're going to work with these laws. How can we work with the law, including making it work? Okay. Making it work. So, let's see here. Hold this all. So here we go. We got how this connects with the other laws, right? How does it work with the other laws? Because that's important. These laws, I'm sharing them and explaining them because we want to learn how to work with the law, and we want to learn how to use all these laws in conjunction with one another so that we can be in flow with the universe. Hello. Duh. So the law of vibration tells us everything moves. Rhythm is that movement in cycle. Okay. All right. So the vibration, the vibe is right, and the rhythm is right. And see, that's it. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. All right. The next law is the law of vibration. No, I'm sorry. Uh-oh. My bad. We had a glitch. Okay, there's a glitch in the matrix. All right, the law of polarity. That was last week's law. So working with the law of polarity tells us that opposites exist, right? We know there's two opposite ends of the spectrum. Rhythm is what shifts us between them, right? It's a flow. You've ever seen a seesaw, or a wave, a sound wave? There's even so. I guess when they talk about rhythm and music and stuff, that's why it's very important. And I just had this aha moment. I don't even know where that came from. So, but I'm gonna go with it. So when you listen to music, especially rhythm, what they call it, rhythm and blues, and there's this harmony in the music, right? There's this vibe, and it gives off a vibration, and music can take you take you high and take you low. You know what I'm saying? It can make you happy and sad. Okay. This vibration is polarity is the rhythm can take you up and down on that spectrum. Okay. So it's important to understand that. All right. So let's see. I have an example, but I'm going to come back to that in a second. All right. And another law that this works well with is the law of attraction, which what we align with grows. We know that. So if we align with gratitude in every season, then we'll be able to find the abundance. Now, I just got a text message from about a video that Michael Beckwith posted about gratitude and how we talked about that in the moment of gratitude special that I did is gratitude will help you find a rhythm of life. So even in the highs and the lows, finding the gratitude in your highs and the lows will allow you to, in any season, in a high or a low, for you to attract that which is going to help you either learn or to flourish. That's how that works. So, gratitude, working with the law of rhythm, really helps you ride that wave and ride it with the knowing that it's all working out no matter what. So if it's high, you're taking advantage of it. It's there for you to use that energy. And if it's a low and a low season, this is where you can be um, store your energy. Okay, you could store your energy, reset, reframe. This is where the low is, where you reframe. Okay, how can you use this low time to get in, get deep, think deep about what it is that you are looking for, right? Because the lows don't necessarily feel good, but they can be good. Okay, because that in the lows you can learn how to be at peace. Like if you can learn to be at peace in the low, then you are doing wonderful. I recall the time when I recently had very low energy, and that's why I think I talk about it a lot. But I binge watched a lot of Netflix. I was not doing a lot. It was not a high energy moment, but I did a lot of introspective thinking and processing about life. And in that moment, I realized that um, I appreciated that peace. I appreciated that stillness in the cycle of my high energy life. Okay. So it was just the natural rhythm of, hey girl, you're not doing a whole lot of work today. This is one of those low vibration. These are you on a very low vibration, low frequency, low energy cycle right now. This is where you are because you can't always be up here. Right now you're here. And in that, I was able to think. I was able to process. I was able to understand where maybe this feeling of not feeling productive was coming from. Because a lot of times we feel unproductive when we're not doing things, right? We're not doing things, but you can't always be doing things. That's the whole point. So, in the flow and getting in the rhythm, you understand that those low moments are really times for you to look out and see what's happening, before the tide rises again. Before you get busy again, you never know. If it's quiet, you might want to take a time to rest because if you're super, super, super busy, it's going to get busy again. And when it was low, if you didn't take advantage of that, if you didn't rest in that low period in the rhythm of your life, if you didn't rest in that period, when that high tide comes again, you're going to be overwhelmed because you never took the time to rest. And I think that is so key. I think that's very, very, very important because a lot of people don't do that because we always on go, right? Always on go. And that's not necessary. We don't always have to be on go. All right. So, some of the things that we can do, so practical applications of this again, awareness practice, noticing your personal rhythms. I said that already. Trust the cycle, learning patience during the slower seasons, right? All and realizing that everything has a purpose. So, just like each season has a purpose. They say that, spring is when you plant, things grow. Summer is just the reaping of all of this harvest, the fresh, juicy fruit. And then, and fall to fall. well, you letting it grow and it's getting juicy and all. It's taking up all the sun and all the nutrients and things. And then fall is when you harvest. Okay, you pull it in, you bring it up, right? You bring it up, and then in the winter things kind of die. Things kind of get barren in the winter. But that is the cycle, and you have to trust the cycle. We don't question the seasons. Okay, we don't question the seasons, and we shouldn't question those seasons in our life as well. We should just take advantage of them and use them properly as they are, as they see fit. Okay, ride the wave. Take advantage of growth momentum when you're in your summer, okay, or when you're harvest season, and avoid burnout. Avoid burnout. Make sure you're taking natural rest, because that's going to be what keeps you that'll rejuvenate you, right? So in the winter, you need to rest. In that season, it's not meant for you to be going out there to be picking up nothing. It's cold outside. You don't need to be outside. This is time to rest. Okay? All right. And then spiritual alignment, of course, I said gratitude for all phases, because each season is here to teach us something. And that's really, really, really important. All right, y'all, you know what we do. I want to make sure, because I have not forgotten, but I like this place right here for the musical therapy situation, right? Musical therapy. So I'm going to jump into our musical therapy selection today. And I love this track, actually. It's really, really is. It's one of my favorites right now. So we're going to jump into this musical therapy in a minute. And while we do that, I want to make sure that you get your journals. Make sure you get your journals. Get your journals, because when I come back, after we come out of the musical therapy session, we are going to jump into our journal prompts. Okay, so how can we pay attention? Because again, one of the biggest things in this portion of for this law is to pay attention. All right, we're going to pay attention, and so we want to pay attention to our rhythm. We want to pay attention to our rhythm. Okay. So let's get some musical therapy going on. We're going to do some musical therapy. How y'all feeling today? What you feeling like? This musical therapy session is called Becoming, and it's by Savannah. So please enjoy.
Change the way I eat, change the way I felt so I could change the way I speak. I stopped listening to music that was changing how I think. Then I put the liquor down, was time to change the way I drink. Please don't take it personal, I'm taking care of me. Stressing about my future, it was messing up my sleep. Accepted all my losses, gave myself the space to breathe. Finally changed the things I wanted, now I know just what I need. You ain't living if you don't grow. Don't be afraid of what you don't know. That I won't go. You say I'm different, well I hope so. I love who I'm becoming. Worked way too hard to get here. You could never tell me nothing. I'm becoming everything I wanna be, and everything I love who I'm becoming. You can't tell me nothing about this person I'm becoming. On me, you gon' lose some day ones when you trying to succeed. The price of evolution, consider that defeat. Life is full of lessons, don't take losses as defeat. So let go of the past, the goal is to be free. The goal is to be everything you're meant to be. Everything you're meant to be. You ain't living if you don't grow. Don't be afraid of what you don't know. who I'm becoming. I love who I'm becoming. Tears in the middle of the night when I'm and after all that I've been through,
Yeah, that's a little musical therapy for you right there. I love what I'm becoming. Ba-ba-da-ba. Love it. Okay, listen, that song, I hope that resonates with you all. I hope that you enjoy that one, and that you it resonates with you as the rhythm, in the rhythm of you becoming who you are. Okay, it's a rhythm to that, and if you pay attention to it, you will appreciate the journey that you have been on. You will appreciate the journey you've been on. You will see all those obstacles that you faced. You will see the rhythm of your life. You will pay attention to it. You will start to be grateful for it. You will start to shift in the things that you want. You will start to shift. And you can start to attract those things that you want. Feel the vibration, y'all. I'm excited. I love that song. I love who I'm becoming. I love who I'm becoming. I hope you love who you are becoming. Okay. I hope you love the person that you are stepping into. Okay. Oh my God. I feel so good. I feel so good in my spirit. Y'all don't get me started. All right. So journal time, journal time. All right. We are embracing the flow of life. So we got 5 journal prompts for this one. 5 journal prompts for this week's law, which is the law of rhythm. Thank you guys again for being here with me today. It's been a really I was traveling today. I just came in from celebrating my son's birthday, and I am flowing with life. I'm flowing with life, but I was going to do my show today, okay? Partially because I really feel led to it, and I'm excited because we're coming to the end of these laws, and I really have some exciting things coming up for you guys. Just in general, I'm just super duper excited. So again, journal prompts. We're going to get these journal prompts going. All right. What rhythm or cycle am I currently in? Where are you right now? That's a good. Where are you right now? What cycle are you in? Are you in a growth? Are you in rest? Are you in transition? Are you healing? All right. Are you in expansion? I like that one. I think I'm in expansion. Okay. All right. How do you usually react when life slows down or shifts unexpectedly? Oh, how do you deal with change? That's the question right there. How do you deal with change? How does change affect you? Because that's going to let you know if you are resisting it, right? Or are you in the flow with it? Where are you in the spectrum? What part of the pole are you with change? Are you resistant to change? Are you accepting the change? Okay, receptive of change. Do you resist or do you receive change? All right. What lessons have I learned from my winter seasons? And winter being your barren, right? Winter being your hard times. Oh gosh, I've been crying all. I've been having tears because sometimes winter doesn't always look the same, and all winters are not as cold. Ah, mm. Okay. All right, pause for the cause. I gotta pause. Hold on. Because all winters are not cold, right? All winters don't have snow, right? But a winter is a winter, okay? Ooh, hallelujah. Hold on. Yeah, give me a minute. So, what lessons do you learn from your winter? That's a prompt for you. That's a question for y'all. That's a question for y'all. All right. Bless me. Okay. I'm being my authentic self on this screen for y'all. Okay. All right. So, what lessons can you learn from your winter? And realize that all winters don't have to be hard. There's some warm winters. All winters don't have blizzards, and all winters don't have, but what are the lessons that you've learned in those hard times? All right. Okay. The next prompt is, how can I better honor my natural energy cycles in my daily life? So again, pay attention. Pay attention. Are you an early person? Are you, you like to stay up? Do you need a nap in the middle of the day? Okay. If you know you need a nap, if you get cranky, you need to take a nap. And you make that your quiet time. You make that your still time. You make that your space. This is how you really too can really start to create your routine, because a lot of times they tell us about these routines and everybody's like, well, what do you do? What do you do? And my suggestion to you is, if you no one routine is going to work. Nobody's routine can work for the same person. It's like that for everybody. No one person's routine can work for everybody. I've heard a lot of people, I've been in a lot of classes, and a lot of leaders and instructors will share their routine with people. And it's their routine, it's their rhythm, it's how they have learned, because they have taken the time to tap into, right, their rhythm. They understand themselves. In order for you to come up with a routine, you have to understand your own personal cycle, and then you have to honor it, stand on business with it, and honor it. And if you can get into that flow, then it'll be natural. You already know, I'm not doing nothing between this time and this time, because that's the time of the day where I'm just not good. Or I know I'm after 3 weeks or something, I'm gonna have to take a break because I don't have the energy for that. You know what I'm saying? Or I don't have that's not a high time for me. Or if you are, in business, we're talking about personal development, but in business, if your season is hot during a certain time of the year, then that's your season. You have to work with that. You have to work with that. Think of it in your personal life as how you do with business. It is that same thing. Okay. And the last one is, what would flowing with life instead of fighting it look like for me right now? If life was working with you instead of against you, or if you were working with life instead of against life, how about that? If you were working with life instead of against life, how would that look for you right now? How would that look for you? What would that give you? What would that look like? That sound like pillars. That sound like pillars. Yeah. All right, guys. I am here. We are come to the conclusion of this particular lesson. We're talking about the universal laws. Talking about the law of rhythm. Right? We've talked about these 10 laws here that you see. And today we talked about the law of rhythm, which says, just for those in case you came late, that everything is, oh, I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. Oops. That's last week's. This says that everything flows in and out, rises and falls, moves forward and back like the tides and the seasons. So everything has a flow. All right. It's almost the flow from how you get from one end to the other end of the spectrum. It's going to do this thing. It's going to flow. All right. And if you can learn to ride that flow, then you can stay on the boat and you won't get in the water and you won't drown. That's what I got to say. I don't even know where that came from, but that's what I got to say. All right. So let's get into the rhythm of it again. Look at those 5 prompts, answer them for yourself, okay? Answer them for yourselves and see what you come up with, okay? See what you come up with. What is your flow? How do you make it happen? Because I'm telling you, this is the thing. I'm telling you, once we stop fighting the flow, once we get in rhythm with life, this is where the pronoia happens, right? This is when things happen This is where all things work in your favor because you are in flow. When you get in flow, that's really where you get, that's where all things work out for you because you are in the natural rhythm, in the natural flow of the universe. And it's very interesting that this law comes at towards the end of all the other laws because it does seem very strategic of how these laws come together, right? By the time we get to this law here, we are understanding a lot. We're understanding a lot. And then this law is telling us, hey, everything that you know now, you got to understand that there's going to be some ups and downs. All right. And in that, you got to use some of these other laws in that because it's natural. Okay. Everything has, what did she say? I can't see because the comments are silly. Everything has flow for sure. That's true. That is so true. All right, Cortland Jones, you are sharing his question 5 answer. He said, embracing the time when it may not, when I'm not working to really connect with the divine and self through prayer and journaling. Okay, so that is your answer to the 5th prompt. And again, for those, if you just came on, I'll put these prompts up for you again, real quick. The journal prompts on how to embrace the flow of life. What rhythm or cycle am I currently in? How do I usually react when life slows down or shifts unexpectedly? Okay. What lessons have I learned from my winter seasons? How can I better honor my natural energy cycles in life? And prompt 5, which is the one that Cortland Jones answered, is what would flowing with life instead of fighting it look like for me right now? Cortland, it sounds like I know you, so it sounds like you're already in the flow. You know what I'm saying? What would that look like? So, is there any? So, if you feel like you're in a flow, then that's why you may need to go into some dark places and see if there's something else that may be that you may be missing. Okay, so I love that though. I love that for you guys. And again, today's musical therapy song was Becoming. All right. And I love that song. I want to play it again because it was so short. But I'm definitely going to listen to it afterwards. But check it out. Shout out to Savannah Christina. I love that song because here in introducing, it's all about new ways of thinking and new ways of being. So love who you are becoming. Enjoy this journey that we are talking about, embracing the flow of life, embrace all that comes at you. Learn to wear your gratitude like a shield, wear your gratitude like the armor that it is, as it helps you navigate the waters of change in life. Okay, that's what it's all about. And yeah, with that being said, I greatly appreciate you all. Don't forget, don't forget, don't forget. I hope you didn't forget. We still have a say, are you ready to say yes to your authentic self? It's the free to be me 5-day workshop that's going to be happening in October 13th through the 17th. That's right now. You can get it for $44 because we're celebrating 44. I'm 44. We're going to celebrate. It's going to end September 14th. The sale does. So if you would like to participate for that in that program, you can scan the QR code, use the code SVG44, which stands for Smart Video Girl 44. And you can get the program for $44. I'm telling you, it's going to be very, 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 very interesting. I have some gifts and prizes and things for that for people who sign up. It's going to be really great. I have some neat things planned. I have some cool people actually going to be joining me on it as well. And I want to announce those people very soon. So, if you are looking to really step into who you are becoming and you want to be free to be your authentic self, then you need to be a part of this workshop. Okay, it's going to be a 5-day workshop. The question is, will you say yes to you? Okay. Will you say yes to you? All right. With that being said, guys, I absolutely, truly adore you. I love you all to pieces. I appreciate your support. And I want to say a special happy birthday to my son Elijah, who turned 14 yesterday. I'm like, okay, what day was that? Yesterday. Happy birthday to my son Elijah, who's my joy. I love him to pieces. And trust me, when I talk about the rhythm of life, the flows, the ups and downs, I know about it. He knows about it. So he can talk about it. We can all talk about it. What is your rhythm? Find your flow and get into the flow of life. I am Smart Video Girl, and I for the last law, okay, the law of the law of yin and yang, okay. So we will get into that. That's the last law. So with that being said, peace out, y'all. Make sure you check me out, Smart Video Girl, on all platforms. Love you.